across the association in 30 minutes. Welcome to Nothing But Net on the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network, where we discuss the happenings of today's NBA through the eyes of a couple of old heads. Got my man, the Midnight Rider. I'm C.
What's
Perry
up?
II. And look, remember, you can catch Nothing But Net Wednesday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch. Remember, the audio version of Nothing But Net is available on Thursdays on all of your favorite podcasting platforms like Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, just to name a few. Make sure you subscribe to the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network, and make sure you are following the network on all of our social media platforms. Now, with that being said, bro, let's jump it up.
Yo, let's go ahead. Let's go.
Man, this is such a fun time of the year because right now we're on NBA trade deadline eve. All right. And it's funny because some big names 24 hours before the trade deadline, some big names have surprisingly have been moved. Now, I want to just start here real quick. Look, ESPN's Sham Charania is putting in that work. And this was what started yesterday off. The Minnesota Grizzlies traded star forward, former defensive player of the year, Jaren Jackson Jr. and pieces to the Utah Jazz for rookie Walter Clayton Jr., Slowpoke Kyle Anderson, Taylor Hendricks, George Niang, and 3 future first-round draft picks. First off, man, what were your thoughts of hearing about this trade?
Ja next. That was my first thought. Was Ja's next? Like, let's just go ahead and get the plane loaded up, get his stuff, and just put it in there because he's going somewhere. And it's going to be soon.
Yeah, it definitely felt like, look, we're about to tear this down to the studs, and let's go ahead and rebuild the proper way. And do you realize the 3 first round picks that they picked up from Utah yesterday gives them 13 first round draft picks over the next 7 years?
Yes.
That's that Sam Presti, Oklahoma City way of building your team and taking your time. Yeah, next thing we just need to hear is where Ja goes. And even on the Utah side, man, on the Utah side, this is them getting a player like Jaren Jackson and them saying that they're not moving their center Walker Kessler. All right. They are, and also not moving Lauri Markkanen. They're preparing themselves to compete. So, I thought it was a good and smart move for them. Right. Now, I would go back to last night, but we'll go back to last night, but I had to concentrate on today. And we've mentioned this name in trade talks for the past month. Okay. Right. So something went down, the trigger got pulled, and everyone is just extremely surprised on where this person is going. That being Anthony Davis. So 10-time All-Star Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum are on their way to the Washington Wizards for Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malik Branham, Marvin Bagley III. Sorry, KG. Marvin Bagley III, and 2 first-round draft picks and 3 second-round draft picks. Look, bro, I'm shocked. I was shocked as I don't know what.
I had to do a double take.
Pulled this deal. Yeah, you had to. Had to think about, had to do a double take. Was thinking of, I was like, Washington, really? Washington? But then after you get over the actual sticker shot, this deal, and I know some people are going to be shocked at what's going to come out of my mouth, this deal was a big win for the Washington Wizards. You agree?
I saw somebody give them a C for this deal, and I'm trying to figure out what were they smoking. You give up a first round pick in this year's draft, which is your second of your 2 picks, and that pick is coming to you via OKC.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think that pick's going to be 30 something?
That pick's going to be the 30th pick in this year's draft. Okay.
So that's one thing. That's one win for the Wizards in my mind. The second one is the other pick is a top 20 protected pick for Golden State in 2030. You really think stuff going to be around in 2030?
Thank you.
Because I don't. And if that's the case, I think this team's going to be bad. So I think they're going to keep the pick, which means they're only going to get one pick out of this deal, and that's the 30th pick in the first round, and the 3 second rounders. Okay. I mean, this is to me. This is something that used to happen to the Wizards, not something that the Wizards did. And this was, to me, this was a work of art because it pays its dividends down the road. You you turn Bradley Beal into a bunch of picks and Trae Young. A side part off of that deal, Chris Middleton turns into Anthony Davis. I mean, they've been paying pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, and the beautiful part about this deal is they didn't give up any of that young talent, the young talent that you're building the team with. Okay, so now you've already given them Trae Young, who, when healthy, is a good distributor. Okay, and now you give them Anthony Davis, when healthy, is an excellent power forward with your young core. This team is setting themselves up to be competitive and extremely watchable for the next 2 years, at least. Okay. And still staying on the program of letting these young boys learn. And now letting these young boys learn and giving them an opportunity to learn and win. So now this would look, this this was a slam dunk. This was a slam dunk for the Wizards.
All you do is tell AD, come to town for the press conference. After that, you can go home somewhere, kick your feet up. We'll see you in August.
Exactly.
And if we gotta make up something, the finger got bad. When our doctors looked at it, we thought it would require surgery, blah, blah, blah. Stay out of the limelight. Go hide somewhere, AD. We good to go. Trae Young, that contusion you got, it's a little bad. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you do this? Why don't you take some time off? Maybe show up to a couple games, but, we'll see you in for 2026 and 2027. That's the 2 options. Plus, you get a year of them, and the trade is so good to me that if they want to move off of Trae, they can, depending on who they draft. If they draft a young guard, they want him to get all the minutes, then you go with that.
And they got the opportunity to move off of AD if they want to move off of AD. My whole thing is, like I said, when healthy, this team is competing for, with Trae and with AD alone, they are competing for a playoff spot.
Exactly.
Okay. So be happy. Be happy. And Dallas fans better be happy, because now we already knew it's Cooper Flagg's team. Now we really know it's Cooper Flagg's team.
All right, real quick, Miss Jackie jumps in. Sorry, guys, I'm late. Hey, y'all. Nah, don't try to jump in now. We got beef because you didn't do a show preview of our show for the night. But that's all good.
Yeah,
that's all good.
That's good.
And then Josh jumps and says, we just now need to keep tanking and get a top 5 pick in this loaded draft class. We totally agree with you. We've been saying that. That's why we think both AD. Yep. She said, "Look, I did." She probably did. I just missed it. Yeah, like I said, it's one of those things. I think AD and Trae Young don't play this year for this team. or the rest of the season, and they come back and re-up with him and do everything in the fall. What else we got going on?
Well, last night, and actually this was starting during the morning. We woke up yesterday morning and we heard that the beard, James Harden, and the Clippers were exploring trade opportunities. And then by the end of the evening, then we get the news that we were hearing all day, actually, that the Clippers traded James Harden to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Darius Garland and a second round pick. Now, I got to give it up to you, Midnight Rider. The reason why I got to give it up to you is because you have been on top of the possibility of Darius Garland getting moved, and you've been on top of that for a while.
Right.
Okay. So to see him get moved to me wasn't a big surprise. To see James Harden be traded or not request a trade as he put it. Cap, sorry, gotta call you out, Beard, on that. Okay, you ain't trying to tell me that you didn't want to be traded because he's been there for how long? 2 years? Isn't 2 years usually around the same time that James Harden don't get an extension and he gets tired of the place he's playing at? That's what I'm usually used to from James Harden, at least used to that over the past 6-7 years. So, ain't surprised. Wasn't surprised at all. I was just surprised at the destination and the who. Okay. Really surprised about the destination. What do you think? Does this really make the Cavs any better?
No. I think it makes them worse. I think because now you have two ball dominant guards that have to create. And while they're creating, they're going to be creating in each other's way. So I think that makes it, I think that's what makes it hard is that they don't get an advantage. Like you didn't trade him for a shooter and now the shooter is good to go. It's you trade them for another guy that's going to have to take the ball, dribble the air out of it, and create a shot. And
this is already on top of them trading this past weekend and getting Dennis Schroeder back.
Yep.
In deal. So
now the only thing that helps is Harden is not as fragile as Garland because Garland's on I think his second or third shoe they've tried to make because he's had foot problems. So that's the other thing you got to worry about when this deal to make sure it's official is he going to pass a physical? That's what I worry about.
Yeah, I'll say it like this. There's tread on the tire for both of them, but the tread is different. Okay. I mean, the tread on Harden is definitely, wear and tear over the years. I mean, the man is 36 years old. Okay. Think about it. 36 years old, still looking for an extension. I'm just saying. Right. But, but in the case of Garland, you have to worry about the health in them feet, because if he's healthy, he definitely helps that LA Clipper team that's found themselves. It's been one of the hottest teams in the NBA since late December. So he would definitely help. And I mean, because look, with everything that's going on with the Clippers, you have to look at, well, it runs into this deal right here. Okay. And this was actually announced in the past couple hours. It's a 3-team deal between the Los Angeles Clippers, the Brooklyn Nets, and the Toronto Raptors. Multi-team deal with Chris Paul going to the Raptors, Abaji and a second round pick and cash going to the Nets. All right. A lot of that part of that has not, hasn't all been worked out yet. But Chris Paul, the name Chris Paul, is getting traded to the Toronto Raptors. However, he won't be staying with the Toronto Raptors. They already told him, don't report. Okay. Their plan is to either see if they can move him tomorrow or outright, buy him out after the trade, after the trade deadline. So I'll say this. Yeah, the Clippers cleared a roster spot. They saved $7 million in taxes, but I got to bring up this question, and I know it's a question that I've had, brought up before. And Midnight Ride, I know it's a question that you had and brought up before. What the hell is Lawrence Frank really doing in Clippertown?
Stealing money. Because it doesn't seem like there's a plan. You made the deal, you got Paul, and it just doesn't make sense. And then you and Paul had a fallout, but it's funny how he's always, it just seems like he's the problem. And I'm gonna say it that way.
Yeah.
He feels like I feel like he's the problem, not the solution. And I think he just makes it worse every time. And for some reason, is that Tepper the owner? No, that's not Tepper, the owner out there.
That's not Tepper. It's Steve Ballmer.
Yeah.
Who's a good owner, an excellent owner.
But he's got the wrong guy running the franchise.
Totally agree. All right, so we had some big names, but I'll also say we have some not so big names that were interesting moves as well. This was the first one that caught my eye yesterday. And this was the Chicago Bulls finally finding a buyer for Nikola Vucevic, and actually a really good buyer with a team that needed a stretch five, that being the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics being buyers now that they're, now with them, still being tied for second in Eastern Conference. So they took Anthony Simons, who they picked up from Portland over the summer, and a second round pick, and moved that out to Chicago. What are your thoughts from the Boston end with picking up Nikola?
I tell people all the time, one of my favorite saying is, you gotta have a type. And the Celtics have a type. They have a center that can step out and shoot. He's probably about 6'10", but he can shoot it. And all they do is work him in and spot him up and let him shoot. They got a couple guys on the bench like Cornette and I can't think of the other guy's name.
Not Cornette. Cornette's in San Antonio. Yeah.
You know what? I apologize now because I was about to say something, but they have the type, and the type looks all the same.
No, look, don't apologize, because we were thinking the exact same thing as it related to types, okay? I mean, come on, let's be real.
They can spot up and shoot it. I think he's younger. I know he's younger than Horford, but it just helps them in so many ways. And then to me, a kid I just keep waiting on is Anthony Simons. Like I just keep you see a flash and then it goes away, and then you see another flash and then it goes away.
Yeah,
it's just like, if he can just get over that hump, man. I think the kid is talented. And I think even if he's a good role player, a third person on a contending team, I just think there's more for him than what he's getting right now.
I know. I agree. And funny that you mentioned talented, and we talking Chicago. You see, because Chicago been doing some things. All right, this is what they did today. Well, first off, you know what? Before I do that, let me be wrong. Let's not be wrong, and take a look at what they did yesterday. Okay, they got involved in a 3-team deal that sent Jaden Ivey from Detroit to Chicago, sent Mike Conley Jr. from Minnesota to Chicago, and then sent Kevin Herter and Darko Saric to the Pistons. Okay. Another one I got to give you props for. You were on top of Jaden Ivory as well. You knew that he wasn't long for Detroit, and turns out that you're right. Now they took Mike Conley Jr. and then packaged him with Kobe White and moved him to Charlotte for Colin Sexton, Dieng, and 3 second-round picks. Hold on. Let me give Charlotte their respect. The hot 7-game winning streak, Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte's being buyers. And what they did with picking up Kobe White, they picked up a player that they were trying to sign over the summer. So they kind of use this as, I guess, a secondary market. And now they got him there. They're going to end up signing him, and he's going to be there long term. I think this is a great move, a credible move for the Hornets. Thoughts?
Hornets are a sneaky athletic team that can score the basketball. I think they're one of the top scoring teams in the last month or so in the league. And I think this adds to it and it helps them out in a place because, it can take Lonzo off the ball a little bit. Get another creator.
Melo. Take Melo.
Melo.
All
right. Yeah. Melo off the basketball. You get another creator on the court. So I like it. I like it a lot. Poor Mike Conley. I think if you check his trade history, he's probably been like 10 to 20 places because of deals, and I think he might lead the league in being traded the next day after the first time he gets traded.
I think that's more Dennis Schroeder. I think that's Dennis.
Okay. All right.
That's Dennis Schroeder.
You in the same mindset. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
look, Conley's had a good career, but he's old right now. Okay. And I wouldn't be surprised if Charlotte bought him out. I really wouldn't. Got to get this one in because this one was sneaky, and this one caught me mad off guard. Okay. That the Sixers traded Jared McCain to the Oklahoma City Thunder for the Rockets' first-round pick and 3 second-round picks. I'm surprised. I mean, granted, the Sixers have deep backcourt. Okay, they have a deep backcourt, but I didn't think this cat would be one of the people on the move, especially with Paul George being popped for 25 games. So this one caught me off guard, but also at the same time, great move by the Thunder. Okay, just keeping things built and keeping things stacked, especially now since the news dropped that the SGA is going to be gone until after the All-Star break, due to an abdominal strain.
It works because it gives them another person to space the floor.
Yeah,
that's the key. And now when SGA, when he comes back and he wants to dish it and kick it, you got to score over there. You got a guy that can shoot it.
Exactly.
And that's all they need. They just needed another person, because I think, and you can correct me on this one, but I feel like Dort hasn't been the same this year and helping them spread the floor and giving them scoring. So this is just another piece.
Yeah.
And I think in Philly, Maxey, Edgecombe, and company, I think that just gives them more opportunities to shoot the basketball more. I think some of these deals just freed up spaces. A couple of Minnesota moves, I think, helped out a guy like Bones Highland get some playing time. So,
I'll say this: the Minnesota moves calculated, and I'll mention that as we walk out the door. Okay, but when you're talking about giving up some space, Cleveland moved Lonzo Ball to the Utah Jazz, and since Ball's agent Rich Paul and Jazz are expected to discuss his future soon, that future is going to be a buyout from the way it looks. So he'll be hitting them. So he'll be hitting that post, that post that post trade deadline free agent market. And he's still going to be a good pickup for somebody. For off the bench. It just didn't work out the way you thought it was going to work out in Cleveland. And once they traded for Dennis Schroeder, the writing was on the wall for Lonzo.
He's a dying breed,
Yeah.
Pass first point guards. He can shoot a little bit, but not enough. Yeah. And that's what this league doesn't major anymore.
Yeah. I still haven't forgive you for dissing Nas, okay? So I really don't care where you go, you or your non-rapping glass shade stealing brother. But I digress. Anyway.
All right, we gotta get out of here.
Yeah, we do. But look, we will be back. I know. Look, now. But look, let me just bring this up real quick before we go. What to expect by 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Keep your eye on Ja Morant and see if there are any moves there. I will keep your eye on Domantas Sabonis because there is some major interest from the Toronto Raptors as it relates to him. And yeah, keep your eye to see if the freak is going to get moved. The Conley trade told me a lot because right now it really, really looks like if anyone's going to be able to grab him at the deadline, it's going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves. So,
okay. So what we got going on tomorrow, man?
Oh, we got going on tomorrow. Look, come back and join us at 7:00. This because we got the nothing but net trade deadline special as we go over and review all of the trades that have happened. That have happened, and that will be official as of 3 p.m. tomorrow.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for coming out and joining us on this Wednesday evening for the two old guys taking you around the association, one topic at a time, sometimes one game at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to thank you for your time and go ahead and get us out of here with your thing, baby.
Look, bro, you know how we do. Fall back, baby. Swish, we out. Be back here tomorrow at 7:00, all right?